Hey, it's been a long time since you've recorded something, huh, Cody?
Oh man, way too long it feels like, but yes.
Yeah. Hey, this is John, and this is my buddy Cody, and he just got Logos Reformed Gold gifted to him by someone at church, and so he was wondering how to use Logos to the best of its abilities. And I was telling him about one of my favorite features, and he was like, "Oh, you got to show me how." So I figured I just walk him through how to do it on his end, and just kind of explain so that way he can learn how to use it and be best equipped to use this powerful program that he's been gifted. So, man, that's so awesome that someone gave you Logos because it's not cheap. So,
No, no.
uh, what you know how they joke like if you want to keep your kids out of drugs, you get them into comics.
Oh yeah.
If you want to keep your pastors out of drugs, you give them Logos, and then they spend all their money on it. So, um, anyhow, let's jump in. This is your screen, and you're going to be working on a lesson for your like Wednesday night group, right? Is that what you were
Yep.
wanting to do? So we're going to go through using the sermon builder / sermon manager on how to use this, so that way Cody can build a lesson out for his group. So, Cody, why don't you go ahead and click on Tools on the left hand side,
Okay.
and then there should be a sermon manager option that pops up in there.
Yeah.
Did
I
that
see.
show anything?
Yeah. Do you see this? What happened? I just clicked it, Sermon Manager.
Okay. So that actually it looks like it made a new window, which is not showing to any of us, oddly
Okay.
enough. So
Let's see.
what if can you drag it into your main Logos screen?
I can try. Let's see. Drag it in. Let me see. I don't know.
I guess not.
No.
Okay, so let's have you let's go to documents and see if this will we'll do it a different way. So click documents, and then
Yeah.
that's so strange. It's not showing me any of like the pop-ups that show up. So you're on the drop-down menu, you should see an option for what do you call it? Like a sermon document, or you have new. So click new. Is that in there?
New. Yeah.
Okay, and then the drop down should say, is sermon an option?
Sermon is yes.
Okay, so click on that, and then let's see where that pop. Okay, perfect. So I can see that now.
Okay.
So this is where you're going to essentially build out your lesson or your Sunday sermon. I use this for my Sunday sermon every week. You would put your title where it says untitled sermon. And then that will give your sermon a title or your message a title in the sermon manager. And then
Okay.
also if you were going to be searching for it later on, it will do that. And then in the right, that little pane where it says sermon info,
Yeah.
you can put like your series information. So say you're doing a sermon series on the Gospel of John, you would type in Gospel of John, whatever you've titled it.
Yeah.
And then it'll add to it. And then you can put, this is actually a brand new feature where it says number in series. And so like if this is your first number one, and then you'll add it to it over time. And then you can kind of fill in all that information about it as you go. And the great thing about this is it catalogs all the information. So if you were ever to go back and be like, hey, I remember I taught on this on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
You can then search for all your Wednesday night messages. It makes it really easy. And so you can like down below, you can put like when you gave it, where you gave it. If you've given it multiple times, like if you do pulpit supply, you can say, okay, I've preached this message at 5 different churches, and you can't remember if you've preached it at like this one particular church in pulpit supply. You could look it up to see if you have. And so
Yeah.
that's super helpful for kind of just cataloging it.
Yeah.
And then it imports all that into the sermon manager, which makes it really nice. But
Okay.
that's stuff you can play around with as you go on. You have it set to auto publish to Faith Life Sermons. I personally don't have my stuff auto-publish, just because I don't like to have to proof it and worry about what someone's gonna think.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
I
so
didn't even recognize that. Yeah. Okay.
and that, like, not a huge deal if someone wants to put all their stuff, but I don't like, I'm terrible at like proofing my manuscripts after the fact. And so
Yeah.
sometimes I misspell things or I put the wrong word, and my wife will be like, "Did you read this?" I'm like, "No." Um, and
Yeah.
so, all right, so let's go into so click where it says heading, and that's going to be like your Word document. Like you're gonna type it in. It's your word processing thing. So a heading. What's really cool about heading is when you type something in there, it's going to auto generate a slide for you. So
Oh wow.
say you want to build your presentation, the presentation portion of your message. You could type in like you were titling this as part of overview of Samuel.
Yeah.
You could type in like anything you want there, and it's going to make a slide, but it's also going to put those things on your handout, which is one of the things you said you were really interested in.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you were making a handout for the group that you're going to be teaching, what would you put like kind of as your first main bullet point on your teaching?
For this, I would probably just put like because this whole part is like basically an introduction to Samuel's family.
Okay, so then write that there.
Yeah.
And do you see that? That's one of the things I love about it is it automatically builds that slide for you as you're typing it in. So you don't even have to like go back later and make new slides.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know that's not a feature that you said you use currently, but I mean, I used to spend like 3 or 4 hours just making my presentation.
Wow.
Like all my slides, like getting Bible verses to try and fit properly onto a slide. And it's a giant pain. But
Yeah.
with this, you just type it in and it automatically generates a slide.
Yeah.
Now, if we click on handout, so up above where it says, click that. This is going to be everything that's going to be on the handout that you tell it to export, that you've told it to put into the handout. And so this is going to be what essentially you're building along the way that you can then export into Word and then just print out to hand to the folks on Wednesday night. So you're not having to do all the like the finagling of the formatting and all that stuff, or
That's
at least not doing a lot of formatting. And what's great is you can simultaneously build your manuscript and your handout at the same time. And
yeah.
so you're making what you need. I'm assuming you take some kind of manuscript and you're going to take some type of handout you're going to give out to the people that come. So let's go back to edit.
Okay, let me see. Edit.
And then so hit enter. And now this is just like general text box where you would just type in whatever you want, whatever you're going to include, and that will then go into the text option, but it's not going to go into the handout option unless you want it to.
Okay.
So like, what would be if you were typing out your lesson? What would you do next in your general typing out your lesson?
So basically, I would just start as the text starts right there in 1 Samuel 1 and 2, introducing us to this man.
Okay, so this is great. So type in first Sam dot 1 dot 1-2.
Oh wait.
Not yeah. I mean, unless you want all of chapter 1 and chapter 2, and then hit enter. So it automatically inserts it there for you. You don't have to cut and paste. You don't have to do anything. And now, if you look, it's made the slide there right there for you.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that will show up on the handout unless you tell it to. So if you click on it, click on handout. See, it's not there.
Yeah.
But let's go back to edit.
Okay.
And click on that text box. And then there's a little icon that I'm trying to think of how best to describe it. Do you see like the the question icon directly below export?
Yes.
Go click to the one to the left of that, and that's your handout button. So click on it.
Okay.
And now do you see how it changed colors?
Yeah.
And now go to handout, and it shows you that it's going to be on your handout now. And it should, when you actually print out your handout, it should actually put the whole text on there, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
And dude, it's awesome. So let's go back to edit. And one of the cool things you can say, you wanted to have it like you want it to be verse by verse. If you click those three little dots next to it, it'll give you the options of you can do either a block paragraph, you can do one verse per slide, and you can include verse numbers, you can not include them. So when you're making a presentation, if you wanted just like one verse per slide, you could click on it, click on one verse per slide. So it's now separated them out. So it's essentially verse by verse, but you can also see now on the left where it shows it's made 2 slides. So if you go up to the up top where it says edit text slides, if you click slides, it'll show you the different slides you have that it's created so far. And it looks like they're white for some reason on the text, which is a little strange to me on some of those. I'm not quite sure why, but actually let's go back to edit. And then if you click on one of the slides, so click that, and then or actually go to the top one, the top slide, and then click edit. And then that looks like it pulled out another box
It did.
window for us. So I can't see it, but you can select and find a different format or style, and you can apply it to the whole thing to make it so it looks like whatever you want. Or if you just want black background with white writing, you can select that and then have it apply. So that's what I do. I just have a plain black background with white writing because we almost always use a different background that's not in Logos but in PowerPoint that we've created. And so I can then take that and format it, insert the background I want in PowerPoint. So you can play around. There's a bunch of different options. There's a ton of like free ones in there, and you can play around with it. So if you want to come back to your main window,
okay.
Let's have you scroll down below the text, and do you normally do like fill-ins for people in your lesson notes?
I haven't, but I would like to do it. So basically my notes have been so bare bones just because quite frankly, I'm not good at even using Word right. So I just have like an outline, maybe a couple things in there, but nothing, no fill-ins. They just fill it all in themselves. So to have something like that would be good.
So let's type in something that you would make as a fill-in. Like just for an example, Samuel's mom is, and I can't even remember her name off the top of my head. Or Samuel was from a family. Samuel's family was from Ephraim. Whatever.
I'll write that. Samuel's family.
Okay. And then let's highlight Ephraim.
Okay.
And then go up to the top next to the text one, and there's fill in. Click that.
There's fill in.
Yep. So click that. So it's going to put an underline on it.
Okay.
Now let's go back to the handout.
Okay.
And so, go back to edit. We have to tell it to add it to the handout.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that. So, yep. Click on that, and then if you go back to the handout option, which was just below export, it's the
this.
Yeah. Yep. So click that. Now go back. Now go to the handout, and if you click on it, it's there. Now, what's super cool is you can actually say hide answers in the top, just below the edit button. So click on hide answers. It's going to take them away. And when you go to export this to Word, it'll export it without the fill in there. So you've essentially created a fill in that someone can use along the way. and it just makes it super simple and super easy. You don't have to do any extra work of you building it. You're typing your lesson and going along and creating it without. It's removing all this extra work. It's
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
and then there's some other really cool features in there, like if you click up where it says heading 1, you can get different types of uh, sections. So, like, say you wanted to do a quote,
Mhm.
you could type in a quote, and it'll give you the option to put who the quote is by, and
Mhm.
then it'll color it. It'll make it a different color in the processor, so you know it's a quote. Or if you have an illustration, it'll make it a different color. Or if you like to give yourself prompts that, like, hey, at this point, here's my transition from my first point to my second point. I want to write it all out and have it there. You hit the prompt button, and it's going to make it a different color in that text. So actually, why don't you just do that? Type in click a block quote, and it looks like you actually have a study Bible open, or a commentary. So why don't you actually select one of those commentaries? Just select some text
Okay. I'll
from.
just take this
Yeah,
one.
it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And then why don't you try? I think you should be able to just drag it into the sermon.
Drag it over.
Did it do it?
I don't.
No, it didn't. Okay, so why don't you copy it?
Okay, let me do this here. Copy. Okay.
There you go. And so then it gives you the citation where you got it from, and it creates it's so awesome.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
I get giddy over it. How fantastic it is. And then what you can also do is you can create different. Are we like fire hose at this point where it's like, man, we're covered.
No, this is good. This is what
Okay.
I wanted.
And then there's even, Cody, when you're in that drop down menu of different texts, you can select like heading 1, heading 2, yeah, and so and then those will be different sizes, heading, and so it's going to format it. It's going to be bold, but a little bit smaller than the main heading,
Okay.
and give you some just different options of what you want it to do. And so then if you like go click on the text one, so next to edit, click that. So at this point, that's all the text you've typed in, except for the quote, which is strange that it's not showing the quote. I don't know why it wouldn't show you the quote. That's super strange. I've never seen it not put something in the text, but if you were to export it, it should be included. If you export from edit,
Oh, it's in there now. It's in
is
there.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, strange. It's not showing on my end that it's.
Yeah. So something happened. I clicked on it on the edit part, and then it like went on the screen, and then I
Okay.
clicked text, and it was on there. So.
Okay. Cool. Oh, it's showing me that. It's just where's First Samuel 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Is it showing that for you?
Let me see. No, that's not on there. Let me see here. Let me see.
There we go.
Okay. So I have to hit edit on it, and then it goes in there for some.
Okay. So I guess that's super strange. I don't know why that's not automatically putting that on the text box. But when you go to export it, like whatever your manuscript is, whatever you want, I would just export that from the edit one, not from the text one.
Okay.
And then you'll click export. And then to go to Word, which I'm assuming that's where you'll want to print from. You'll click print export.
Print export. Okay.
And then it should give you the option. It's popped into a new window, and then you can send it to an existing Word document. You can send it to a new Word document, or you could just print it straight out. And that's how you'll get it
Cool.
into Word to print out on your printer, or you could just click print. I end up making a redundant copy because so the nice thing about this is as you type this, Logos is auto saving it to their system, and any device that you go to look at it on, you can look at it. So I could look at all my sermons that I've typed out in Logos on my iPhone or my iPad. You can even preach from your iPad or iPhone if you wanted. If you pulled up the lesson, you could go into preach mode, which has a timer. I'm assuming that works with Android too, but I don't have Android, so
it's got a timer on there.
Yeah, it's helpful if you remember to hit the timer to start.
Yeah,
but if you don't hit start, it doesn't do you any good to have a timer. Actually,
I don't want to see my time.
I normally do a paper outline that I take with me into the pulpit, and I set my phone down and I'll start my timer on my phone.
Yeah.
And this Sunday I was like, oh, I'm gonna preach from my iPad. I felt like I had enough time to get it set up right, and I set the timer and I got up there and I started going, and I was like 10 minutes in and I was like, I forgot to start my timer. So that's kind of like a basic overview of it. Do you have any questions? I mean, I know I kind of talked a lot. Do you have any questions on how you would want to do something?
So if this here, so let's say I've been typing this out on my manuscript here or whatever, and then I want to take something out. How do I take it out so it's not here anymore and won't show up on the other stuff?
So like that one, you would just you would select it all. Since it's editing, it wants you to you have to it thinks that you want to remove parts of the text that are there.
Yeah.
So you would just do that and then hit delete, and then it's going to keep part of what you left there.
Right.
But normally, yeah, there you go. So just like Word, you normally would.
Yeah.
But so drop down to where it says heading 2, and then hit enter. And then just type in 1 Samuel 1.1. And you don't even have, and then hit enter. Now you don't even have to type in the full reference. It's going to automatically do it. So 1 Samuel 1:1, you could just do 1 Sam 1.1, and it's gonna auto put it in. So if you click on it, go for it. There you go.
Wow.
And let's say you didn't want to make a slide for it, but you wanted it in your manuscript, so to speak. Instead of hitting enter, you could hit tab, and it'll put it into the Word document, so to speak. But if you click on that, so click that and hit delete on your keyboard. There you go, and it's just gone.
Wow.
And so just all these little things about it make it way easier and quicker to build out your message. Normally, if you were doing that, you would have to cut it from Bible Gateway, paste it into the Word document, or however you were doing it before. Maybe you were hand typing it. You were hand typing it in. Now you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
So if you hit enter right now, it'll drop you down to back into text again. Okay. And then so type in 1 Sam 1.1 and then hit tab instead of enter. And so see there, now that's in the Word document. It's not a sectioned out thing.
Yeah.
And that's another way you can put it in if you didn't want it to generate a slide. If you didn't care about it being a slide. See, that's interesting. If you go back to text, it did put that other one you added in back in. So I don't know why it didn't do that the first time.
So what is this thing here that says questions?
So questions are they're kind of like the handout. If you were building a lesson plan that say you want to make a handout for your congregation to read on on a Sunday morning, a handout to fill out, but then you also have small groups that meet and discuss the passage. You could type in questions that go along with it, and then add those to questions, and you can make a whole new document, a whole third document, so to speak, that you could then send to your small group leaders or Sunday school teachers, whatever, that would be independent of what you've given for the other lesson. So if you go back to the edit page, where you click to add to the handout, immediately to the right of that, the little question mark under export, adds something to the
questions.
Yeah.
Questions. So
and then, click that. There you go. And that's on there right there.
Wow.
And so, and it makes it a different color. So they have these little different color pop-ups that help you kind of figure out what the different things are. And you can change the color around the text, and you can change the color of the text. So that way, if you're, if you like to have make your illustrations, you have one color in your manuscript, you can do that. Or if you want to, say you put quotes in a different color, you can do all these different things to change the colors. And the way you would do that is, you see the bold and the italicized buttons and the underline. Just to the left of that, you see some, click that guy, that little drop down. And you can see different color options that go along with it. So the background is kind of like if you were highlighting something. And then the other one is the text color, like if you were to change to red. Like I like to make my, any scripture references I use, I like to make them red. And so I just click that little thing, and then it will, and so it looks a little funny in the green. But then if you were to go to the text, if you go up top to where it says text, and you click on it, the text, is it red or is it regular colored? It's regular colored, huh?
Yeah, let me see.
But when you print it, it would print red, or it should print red. And so it's, man, I'm really excited for you. I think it'll be really, it'll save you time, I think, and be super helpful.
I'm just blown away by it, man. It's even just looking over the commentaries, all that, I want to get into more of the the digging into the original language and all that stuff, and all of that at some point too. But I think for now, this is just going to be super helpful. And I love the fact too, that thing that you told me at the very beginning, where you type it in and you can put whatever it was that you're saying, that where it'll categorize where that sermon was. And because I have them all saved on my documents, and they're saved all over the place. I don't even have a good folder system for them. And so there are sermons that I've preached that I'm like, man, where is that one? I need that one again, and I can't find it. And be able to have it and just boom, pull it up. Oh man.
One thing that they just added to in Logos 10 is actually the ability to import sermon documents like you have from Word into Logos, and it'll add them in. Wow. And so then then you can catalog them. So I haven't played around with that yet, but that's a new feature that you can use to then have all those old sermons in the one place, really trying to alleviate that problem that you talked about. So
that would be nice, man, because I've got years of sermons on here that I would love to have categorized. It just makes it like I've been asked to speak at this men's conference, and then at another church and stuff like that recently, and there were sermons that I knew. I was like, man, that would be great to have those, just to be able to do, and I couldn't find them, so to have them right there in one spot, click, and you're on it.
Well, it's awesome if you like if you teach through, I don't know if you guys do Advent series. It's really helpful for me. We do an Advent series every year, and it's like, okay, what text did we do in Advent last year? To be able to look and say, oh, we did these passages in Advent, so we might do different passages in this coming Christmas season. And so you can kind of look at those things and say, okay, it's just helpful to be able to know quickly when did we preach on these things. And so and you can even I don't know if you guys if you have other pastors or elders or people preaching when you're not there. You can even go put those into the sermon manager and put who the speaker was. So that way you can catalog, hey, this text was preached on this day. And then if you were to type it into the computer, into the sermon manager to look, has this text been preached on recently or at all here? It's in my tenure. You would say, oh, we had guest preacher so-and-so this date, and he preached on this text. Wow. So you would know, hey, like I wasn't here I was gone on vacation last year. And I wasn't here, so I don't remember what he preached on, but I cataloged it. And so I know that he preached this text. And so you're not being redundant, so to speak.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And that this block quote thing is good because that like all my stuff, seriously, it would be like, I'd have books and comments spread out all over my table, and I'd be looking and being like, which one was that in? Yep. You know, and oh man, to have it all right here, it's like, I don't know. It feels like I'm there at the invention of the wheel. You know, it just changed everything. So
that's awesome, man. So we'll have to do a time where I can show you how to use a thing called visual filters to help you really work with the languages, even in English, where you can like set it up to highlight out participles, infinitives, indicatives. And you can even have it highlight when words have the same underlying Greek word or the same underlying Hebrew word. So that way, like the classic example is John chapter 20, where Jesus is restoring Peter, and John alternates between agape and phileo.
Yeah.
And if you're reading in English, you don't notice that. But if you're reading in Greek, you would notice that. And with Logos, you can like highlight, move your cursor over the word, and it'll show you, hey, Jesus is using this word, but Peter's using a different word for love here. Now that might mean nothing. John might just be being silly and fun and playfully changing the word, or it could be exegetically significant. Yeah. And that's up to you to decide if it's significant or insignificant. And different commentators will give different opinions on it, but it at least helps you as you're working through it in English, notice it that you wouldn't otherwise notice it. So I'd love to show you how to use that stuff too. Because I know that's the type of stuff, like when I say it's powerful like Excel, it's stuff that people just really don't know about and don't have anyone show them. But when you learn it, you're like, oh my goodness, this is so helpful.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. This right here feels like a game changer to me. What you just showed me.
So that's cool, man.
I can remember it. It will feel like a game changer.
Yeah.
Is it just so the outline building, it's there in the handout, like the
introduction? Yeah, just as you make sure you're like whatever you're wanting to go onto your outline, you're clicking on it and then hitting that little outline button. Okay. So like click on that.
Okay. Do I have to highlight it or just click?
You should, since it's one of those, because it thinks that you want to edit it. So like,
okay.
If
I just did that.
Yeah, click that, and then click that, and then go click the handout button just to see what it does. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Why is that there?
That's weird. Strange.
Yeah. Huh. Let's see if it's on there now. Yeah. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Cool, man. I hope that helps.
Yes, it helps a ton. So thank you.
And working. Yeah, feel free to hit me up, message me. Any questions you have, happy to help as I'm able, or point you to some different resources that will help along the way. The Logos people, they send out, they do some training videos every week, and then there's a company called MP Seminars that there was a guy named Morris Proctor. He actually just passed away about a month ago, but he was like a trained someone certified to train people how to use Logos, and he would do a free video every month on how to use stuff. And so just watch those types of things, and those really help you understand how powerful it is. And man, the fact that so I have my iPad here, right? Mm-hmm. I've got like 7,000 resources, and they're all on my iPad. And so I can take my whole commentary library with me and go study Logos or I got study on Logos at Starbucks, and I don't have to carry 25 commentaries with me. I don't have to carry 2 commentaries with me. I carry this, and I've got a whole bunch of books behind me, but it's just nice to be able to, I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to read on Esther. I've got my main commentaries on here. I'm good. And then just run with it.
So nice.
Yeah. And you don't have to take up the whole kitchen table with all your books.
I know.
I'm sure your wife will appreciate.
Yes, she will. It's so nice, man. So nice.
So, man, I'm stoked for you to get it and learn to use it. I think it'll help. I mean, it's not necessary for ministry, but it's really helpful for ministry, and it really will help you just give people the word, right? Like if the word is doesn't return void and is profitable for reproof and rebuke and exhortation and training in righteousness, all that stuff. And it doesn't wither, it doesn't fade away. Man, something that will help us in our study of the word and communicating it to other people. It's worth it, man. So
yeah, oh, totally. This is it'll make it look like I know what I'm doing, It's like printing things off and handouts and all that stuff. So this is good.
Awesome. And then I'll shoot you a link once I upload this. I'll probably do it tomorrow, but then that way, if you're like, hey, how did we do that? You could just go back and watch it, and it'll help you. So
sounds good.
Cool, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Sure thing, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye. Okay.